Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Creative Craving, and welcome back. Today we are working on the Rook and Roll project again. Somewhere I have it up. Or we can find it. Here it is. And today we're going to be working specifically on piece movement. We want to make it really simple for now. Later we're going to want animations, of course, but for now we're just going to keep it super simple. And where we left off, we were laying the groundwork for this handlePieceMovement function. And I honestly don't remember what all we did, but we did a bunch. And so we're just going to get back into this and try to get back in the groove. It's been a few days since I've looked at this, so I'm going to have to spend some time refreshing myself. But hopefully it'll be refreshing for you as well. All right, so handlePieceMovement, we are calling this on click on the canvas, okay, and we need to make sure we're using the correct mouse button, the left mouse button, the primary. Some people might be using their mouse in left-handed mode, which means the right button would be primary. Okay, we need the offset from the canvas. We want to check if there's a piece there. Okay, if it's undefined, we return there's no piece. And then that's it. That's what we've done so far. Now, if we have the correct piece, what's the type of this? Hitbox. Okay, right. It's coming back to me a little bit. For hitbox, oh, hello. Oh yeah, I remember that problem. I tried disabling the lint, it's still causing issues. Hitbox contains basically a rect and then a piece position. We're going to change this to be rect later, but for now we're going to leave it as alone. We need to get the feature finished and then refactor it. Piece position, which entails the name of the piece and its number. So which type of piece and its number, its position rather. Okay. So at that point, the way we're going to do this is we need to set, well, needs full repaint is already set to false. We need to set the square that the piece is on to dirty. And dirty squares, you know, I need to typecast this, I remember. This is actually just the index, which is the same as this. I need to actually create my own type alias, just so I remember which things are which. Okay, so, because I'm naming it different things in different places, so that's not great. Okay, maybe I should just call it index everywhere. Okay. So go back to where we were. Yeah, and we do need to be looking around here a lot. So what we want to do is take set dirty squares. Whoa, nope. Something weird's been happening with my keyboard recently. I'm not sure what's going on. I wonder if it's something to do with my USB cable being crimped, or I don't know. We have piece hitboxes. No. Targeted piece dot position. Yes. Followed by dirty squares. We don't need two of those, just one. There we go. Okay, we're going to set those as dirty. Now this is still giving the error message, but it's still part of the event. It's just not part of the type. Maybe I need to actually... I thought about adding some code to just check it. The problem is that actually changes the output. It's going to actually output JavaScript to match that. So I don't know. I guess I'll leave it for now. Now what to do next? Right, well the next thing we need to do is we need to stop rendering it. We need to stop rendering it in the normal way and render it in a new way. What I mean by that is we need to hand off rendering from the normal render pieces thing. Pieces selected, here we go. We need to set pieces selected. Now at this point, oh wait a minute, I need to check something. Yeah, before I even grab a targeted piece, I need to check something. if piece is selected, oh, whoops, piece selected, just one. Can I expand that? No. Okay, let's, there it is. Okay, so I need to just check if anything is selected. If is any selected, we're going to do it one way. Else, we're going to do it the other way, and then we're going to return. Right, I'm not messing with that at the moment. If you click on the canvas with a piece selected, we're going to handle it differently. Right? But if nothing's selected, we're going to handle it this way. So, at this point, we have our targeted piece. We're going to do set pieces, oh, whoops. Uh-oh. You see what it just did? Okay. Set piece. I might have to, okay. Let me try unplugging it and plugging it back in. That worked for the mouse the other day. This issue's been getting, it's getting worse, I see. All right. We have is any selected true, and we have selected, and it's going to be specifically the targeted piece. There we go. We don't need a hitbox for this. Great. And it looks better if we put this one first. It's easier to read the two together like that, I think. Because you can choose which thing you care about really quickly, and then you can read the full thing. Okay, the full line. Right. So, interesting. I need to, right, I need to just double check the rendering. Paint pieces? Paint piece. Okay. Here, I think we're already doing the check, right? Or is it in here where we're doing the check? Okay, here we go. If anything is selected, I guess that means this doesn't have everything it needs for that. We're just not passing piece selected through. Okay, fair enough. I really think this check probably belongs in here, because what we've just done is just change this paint piece. It used to be the paint piece at was a convenience function, but now it's completely necessary. You can't, well, I guess you can call this directly. You just have to do this check yourself. You have to know that they behave differently. So I probably should put this check down inside here before. I guess the differences are a little bit, they're kind of stated sort of implicitly, but sort of explicitly, because it's in the props. Like this one doesn't even take piece selected, so of course it can't have a condition based on that. So this can take that into account and does take into account. It's kind of evident in the props. Like if you look at the function signature of both of them, if you just look at the docs for both, right, like this, you should be able to figure it out. I just want to make sure my function is readable or understandable without having to read it, rather. Like it shouldn't be too surprising what it does. Now, I think it is a little bit surprising that this is here rather than being passed in and handled here. I think that was a poor move on my part. Now, I might move it, but I'm starting to reevaluate whether I should have this even check the collar either. Well, there is a relationship between the name of the function and the collar, which is this. When you're trying to paint a piece at a specific index, it's enough to pass the index, and the collar can be deduced from that. But if you're trying to paint a piece and you're not here, you have to already have the collar. Well, that's not true. This could deduce it too. So actually the names of these functions are kind of bad, because if you think about it, this takes an index too. It's just hidden inside a piece position. This also takes the index. The difference between them is this one takes the game context and breaks it down. This one expects you to have already done that. So really the at thing probably is the only thing that's wrong with this function. It's named improperly. It's confusing me. Like, my original intention for this function doesn't match what it ever did. I just wrote it quickly. This is not something I'm going to solve right now, but it is something to think about. I want this to be named in a way that I know what it means. You know, that's the minimum standard for legibility. Like, let alone whether or not someone else can read my function 6 months from now. I ought to be able to understand it a week in advance, you know, a week later. And it's kind of failing that test, so. Yeah, okay. Right, so we are at least taking that into account, like we're supposed to. We're checking whether it's selected. Okay, and so we're not painting it under those circumstances, in which case it needs to be painted separately. Let's see where this is used. Oops. Right here, to do, oh, come on, to do paint selected piece also. The idea here is we want to animate the selected piece, and we want it to allow it to overlap other pieces. So let's say I pick up this pawn. It's kind of hard to imagine without actually moving the pawn. But let's say I pick up a black pawn and move it across and into this white rook down here. Since the black piece is in my hand, you expect it to move over top of the rook as a user. So you need it to be painted last. It needs to be the last thing painted so it can go over top of everything else. Also, it needs to be handled inside a separate method because it's going to behave differently than these other pieces. These other pieces need to be, well, they're not in the center, but they need to be in the center of the square. They need to stay there. That's how they're rendering. That's the rule for rendering them. But the selected piece can move. It can change squares. It doesn't even have to be in a square. I can grab the piece and move it to this vertex right here, and until I release it, it's there. And we also need to think about, at some point we need to think about handling click and drag versus click and paste. Probably what I'll end up doing is something similar to chess.com. Like, if you click on a piece, it doesn't move the piece around and make it follow your mouse. It shows where that piece can move and lets you move it. But I don't know, like, I kind of want to have a game where you can move pieces wherever you want to, so it wouldn't make sense to animate that other than maybe to change, maybe to provide an outline for the piece. But if I'm providing an outline, that means I need to do an outline for every single piece shape myself, because I don't have that provided. You know, looking back, all the work that's requiring for me to use this SVG that someone else made, maybe it'd be better to make my own. Like, it would be a lot of work, but it's starting to seem like it's more work just to use someone else's stuff when I'm not using it the way they intended. Clearly, I'm using it in a different way. Okay. So, piece selected, right. So we're going to leave this alone. This is a to-do. Actually, throw to-do. Oh, new error. Moving selected piece, not finished. Not implemented. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Okay. Now, let's start from the top. We found the right button. We have the offset from canvas. We can put this lower. It doesn't have to be there. No, actually, we're going to need it for both flows. We need the offset from canvas for both flows, so we'll put it up at the top. We need it for the inside the if as well. We have a targeted piece. Yeah. We find our targeted piece. Okay, that probably should be its own little thing. And if no piece is targeted, we ignore. Okay. Set dirty squares. So we mark the place where the piece is dirty. It needs to be re-rendered in the next render cycle. Set piece selected. And because we're changing this, modifying this thing, that use effect that actually does the rendering is going to run right away. And by right away, I mean as soon as React gets around to it, which should be soon enough. Okay. Then we're setting the selected piece as well. This is both happening in the same flow, so those are going to basically, they're going to trigger the use effect at the same time because they're getting set at the same time. Actually, come to think of it, when's the last time I've updated the requirements for this? Dirty squares is there. Piece selected should be there as well. While I'm thinking about it, let me just double check these. We have the game, dirty squares, canvas ref, needs full repaint, yes. Piece hitboxes. This is sort of a hard one because piece hitboxes is calculated. Am I referring to it there? I'm not. Piece hitboxes is calculated here. We're setting it here, but I don't think we're ever reading it there. And like we're setting it every single time we render. Yeah, I think that's fine because it's a calculated field, right? In Vue or Angular, this would be a calculated field. That's what they call it. So it's not, honestly, I don't know that this even needs to be a use state. It probably is just a local variable. Isn't it? It's just sort of an implicit local variable. Now let's think about it. Okay. Where am I using it? I'm using it here. Wait a minute. Okay. I'm painting the pieces and creating the hitboxes. No, wait. Piece hitboxes. Where am I using that? In handlePieceMovement. Okay. So handlePieceMovement, right. The reason this needs to be a state variable is because it needs to be passed from here to here, but this doesn't call that. Right. Okay. And this function is getting re-implemented every time, so it's probably not, this is not the best way to do things in React. So it's going to have to be re-rendered every frame because like the thing's going to have to be re-rendered every frame because of this function. I need to fix that, but it's not a major priority. Performance is not a priority right now. We just need to get functionality there and then go back for it. Okay, so that seems like that's all good. Let's go back here. Whoops. Okay. And let's go through this process one more time here. We make sure we have the right event. We get the offset. We make sure we don't have something selected already. We figure out which piece we're looking at. If we're not looking at a piece, who cares? If we are, then we update it to basically these. We say it needs to be repainted, and we make sure to shift responsibility for painting it from the existing paint pieces, the one for painting static pieces, probably should rename it to paint static pieces, to the paint selection handler, which doesn't exist yet. I think that's all we need to do in this function, right? We just transfer control. Now, if the piece is selected, what I want to do, honestly, this is probably really sophisticated. I need to think about captures. Oh gosh, what just happened? Okay. There's a lot to think about. I need to think about captures. I need to think about, see how easy this was to write once we got all the pieces in place? It was worth, all the prep we did last time was worth it. Anyway, I need to think about captures, like a piece can take another piece, so then one piece goes off the board, the other piece changes position. I need to update the game state, which I'm not even interacting with yet. I probably will use this, I need to use another function for that. I've decided that so far I'm not going to worry about rejecting invalid moves. I'm going to allow the pieces to move wherever they want on the board the same way you could with a physical chess set. Part of the reason for this is like there are plenty of chess apps online, right? But I want one that I can work with as if it were a physical board and just do whatever I want with it. So I can study stuff and not have to be bound by, you know, a regular opening or whatever. Kind of like when you're setting up a custom game on chess.com and you can put the pieces wherever you want for a customized layout. Okay. Huh. Now then. Yeah. Okay. Right, I'm also going to have to step away for 5 minutes, so I will be right back as soon as I can. Sorry I don't have anything cool to watch in the meantime, but maybe this code will be exciting. I'll at least put it on different places so you can kind of study, think about different things. All right, be back in 5. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully it wasn't too long for y'all. Okay, so, apologize for that. Now, what I want to do, okay, so right. If there's a piece selected, we need to, I want to do something super basic. Hang on, I was just thinking about rendering. Never mind. If there's a piece selected, what we want to do is put it down in a square, and then we want to put it down in a square, and then shift responsibility. Let's do the easiest part first. Oh, we need to get that square actually. We need to get that square. Okay. Now here's the interesting thing. We've been using piece hitboxes. Yeah, okay. We need to mathematically convert from the rendered square to the physical square. Oh man. Paint square. Let's look at this. Okay, so it's pretty simple, basic. Right. Pixels. We need to convert. We need to get the position. We need to get the we need to get the index from the render position. All right, so we basically need to do the inverse of this. So let's say, let's call this. Let's get rid of that. And weird formatting. Okay, so yeah, really weird formatting. Let's call this Z. We want to go back to it. We're going to go here, get render position, and we're actually going to do something about that. I don't know where that's used. I'll put this underneath. I want to put these two together. Function get index from render position. Props. Now the props are going to be similar. We have the index. Nope, we have the render position. It's going to be XY. And we have the offset. It's optional, but we are using it in this case. And we're going to use it to calculate the index. I don't know why it wanted me to have two of those. Okay. Okay, so const right. Render position offset equals 0, 0 equals props. No, oops, no semicolon. Const right, x offset. Let's do the same. Offset. Now then, we need the opposite of index to y. This is a very dual thing. So index to xy. Do we not have the opposite of that already? We don't actually. Okay. XY to index equals let's do it this way. Number const x y equals props. Okay. Fill out this here. Fill out this function body to do the opposite of index 2 xy. The reverse. I don't know, somehow I feel like reverse is more specific than opposite. But anyway, let's see if AI will do it for us. Okay, rank width is 8. Sure, we'll keep. Yeah, we're dividing there. Okay, yeah. Sure, this either works or it doesn't. It doesn't matter too much. It's a matter of, if it's wrong, it's a matter of swapping x and y, right? It's a very simple, it's a very simple transformation, not one I want to go into detail thinking about. And it's either right or wrong, so it's not too big of a deal. Okay. Now, okay. So let's go back to where we were. Let's put this, oops. Here we go. Let's shift them around. Makes more sense to me. Const index equals. Wait a minute. I've got to do that last. I can't do that first. Okay, the dual is going to be can I do it like this? No. Never mind. Const xpx ypx equals render position. Okay, now what we're going to do is take and say xy equals, so x minus x offset divided by cell size, y minus y offset divided by cell size. Aye. Okay. Keyboard's acting up. Oh. Sure. Okay, now. Then what we want to do is return what did I call it again? X, Y2 index, X comma Y. There we go. Okay. Okay. Great. That's fine. Now, we'll just have to check the result of this and make sure it works fine. What I might do is whenever I call get render position with offset, I might actually call get index from render position right away. And if they don't match, throw an assert if they don't match. That's a good idea, actually. Let's do that. That's a great idea now that I put that in my head. Get render position with offset. Where are we calling it? Right here. Okay. So what I want to do is assert. Are asserts a thing in JavaScript? I thought they were. JavaScript assert. I mean, I can fake them if they're not. Let's assume they're not. Okay, so let's make a function. Function assert. Yeah. Assert condition is a Boolean, and message is a string array. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's some notion that it exists. Oh, console.assert. Oh, okay. Well, fine. There we go. I figured there was an assert of some kind. Okay, so now what we want to do is assert true get render position with offset versus index from render position. Error round tripping. There we go. So assert index equals get index from render position xpx ypx, and the next thing offset which we don't have an offset. Okay, great. Great, so I want to use the same pattern everywhere this is called. So this is just an easy way to test it in all possible circumstances. Offset is, we're just going to copy it. Really should set it to a variable so we can respond to changes, but it's not going to happen right now. Wait a minute. Piece position dot position. Here we go. Okay, this is more complete. I think I'll use this one. Not using those, that's interesting. I'm not going to fight with it. And here's the next place it's being used. I'm regretting my decision to overwrite the other one because now we're reverting back to what we had before. Offset's different though. Okay, that's every use of it. Great. So that should test and make sure those two functions are equal as far as I care. There could be some subtle bug that comes up in scenarios I don't care about, that don't never happen, but I don't care about those. Now let's look. I don't remember if I committed last time or not. I might not have. Yeah, no, I didn't commit any of that stuff I did last time. It does feel like this is something I could commit pretty easily by itself. Piece selected. None of that. Yeah, we're going to keep the asserts. No. No. Nope. Okay. Nope. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay. The assert we keep. The point is inside that. We want to get rid of that. Just for now. Wait, I messed up. Okay, no, no, no. I wish I could just tell it to go from the end. Yes. Okay, now undo that change, get that back in there. Skip the first file. I only want that one thing. Not even hitboxes are part of it, eh? Skip. Yes. Undo. Okay. Reverse. Get render position with offset. Oops. Make the dual of get render position with offset index to XY. Now then, let's then, what I did was I stashed my changes, and then we're going to import this and then append that there so that our commit will build properly. And then we're going to pop everything. Oh, it's going to have a merging conflict. Surprise, surprise. It's going to be not that big of a deal. Stash changes we don't care about. We want to keep the updated. This is confusing. Accept current change, accept incoming. One of them says updated, the other says stash. I don't know what that means. I will just manually handle this because I don't know why. I honestly have no clue why they would use different language for the merge message versus what's there right there in the description. Anyway, because when you're applying a stash like it, or when you're merging someone else's work into your own, it can be really confusing to use that generic terminology like changed upstream or incoming changes versus existing or whatever. And we're going to reset. That's not a merge conflict. It'll happen again, I think, so we don't need to save the solution. Okay, we are removing that because I just realized we're not, or removing those two things because I realized we're not using them. Okay. We probably have more we could commit now if we wanted to really break it up that much, but I'm hoping to kind of get through it and get it done. Now, what did we just do? We just created a way to get the square number. Okay. Const selected index equals no, let's clicked index. Let's keep it even more basic than that. Equals get index from render position. Render position is going to be offset from canvas. Offset is going to be based around when we're paint squares. I don't think we have offsets for this. Yep. No offset for the squares themselves. I added that comment just to remind me not to add an offset there. Okay, what's wrong with the render position? Any is not recognizable as number. Okay, that's really annoying. Anyway, yeah, I really want to extend the mouse event type to add these things to it, honestly, but yeah, because these things exist. I don't know why it's acting that way. Cannot find name. Oh, well, that's a problem. I don't know why that would be the case. Okay, so we have our clicked position, clicked index. So what I want to do now is take this piece that's selected and put it at that index. in the game now. And that's going to involve some logic that it's really out of scope for handling piece movement, I think, for click handler. You could argue that most of this is out of scope, but anyway, move piece to position. Just call it move piece, and let's use props to define everything. Piece, and we have selected piece, piece selected dot selected. And the type here is a piece position. Okay. And then we have, all right, we know what something selected. Okay, at this point. And then we have, excuse me. We're going to need our new index, clicked index. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. Now, something I'm a little bit worried about is, in the game, we need to not only update the position, let's look at the game. Player state, piece color, per player, player state. Board position, piece position. We need to update the position of this piece, right? And this is a piece position. We need to update that position. We can do that inside the move piece. I'm just worried whether or not that's actually going to affect the game state or not. I think it'll be fine, though. And I think this is going to be a reactive function. I could pass in the game state, but I think I'm just going to have it be reactive for now. Okay. So, oh yeah, this needs to be reactive. Okay, let's just put it right here above. We should probably move it below in a minute, but it'll happen later. Let's call it props. Const piece index equals props. Right. We handle this. I think here's the way I'm going to handle it. Just handle it here. Okay, what's going on here? Oh. Okay, great. Now piece is of type piece position, great. I don't think we care, because we're not trying to program legal moves, we don't care about the piece's previous position. So I think we can just override it. Okay, now what we need to do is look in the game and find the existing pieces and update them. So in the game, we want to see if there's anything there. Now I've noticed we're doing this operation twice. And there can only ever be one piece at any particular location. We're doing this twice. The other place was paint piece at. Does the same thing. So we're going to white piece, black piece. Yeah, we're doing the same operation twice. Okay. I don't like the way this is coded, but I'm gonna do it again manually. Function, I was gonna try to extract it automatically, but find piece at index. Props. Game, index number. Should be all we need. And what we're going to return is undefined or piece position. We'll do this, piece, and then color. Oh, you know what? I thought color, piece color. There we go. Oops, come on. This image abbreviation, like trying to autofill JSX code tags wherever I'm typing, is really frustrating. I wish I could just disable that because it's very rarely useful even inside of JSX expressions. Probably should take time to disable it because it's frustrating way more often than it's helpful. Okay, so piece position. Like in my opinion, if you start with an angle bracket and then start typing, yeah, okay. Now see, at this point it doesn't even offer image expressions, like or image abbreviation. It doesn't even offer that. Why? Like that's the only time when that should even be offered. I don't understand why it offers it when you don't type the angle brackets. So weird. Okay, so come on. Right. So here's our function. No. Oh, this is what it returns. Right. Tricky. Complicated. Problem is it's not returning it? Yes. Okay, great. It could return undefined, though. Undefined or this. Now what's the problem? Well, its return type includes undefined. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's just make it really simple. Actually, you know what? Let's paste this here before I forget. I'm going to keep a hold of it. Don't need the paren there. Okay, fine. The declared type is undefined. Oh. Okay, I get it. You have to be explicit. I define the return type as returning undefined. So if I'm explicit in the type, I need to be explicit in the return. Interesting. Okay. It may be something slightly different. I didn't check with just undefined, but anyway. Okay, I like that overall. It was unintuitive. Right, here's what we're copying. Okay. We're just going to copy this as is. Boom. Right. Const game index equals, we'll leave it, props. Okay. And then it's undefined. We return undefined. Otherwise, we get the collar. And then we can return, because this is the last moment where we have direct access to the information of what color it is, so we need to pass that along. Piece position. Color. Actually, there. Oh, piece. Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's interesting. I was just thinking, like, it would have been interesting if I had taken the piece position and included a color here. But because it's kind of annoying to have to pass the color around and calculate the color here and there and everywhere. You know, it's kind of frustrating, right? Why couldn't we just inherently know it? Because if you look on a board, these pieces all have colors, right? You can see it with your eyes. But there is some value in leaving it separate, because by not having it part of this type, that means we can have large portions of our code that we can prove by just looking at the types that it's correct for both white and black, because it doesn't rely on color and it just uses this. So like if we want, especially if we want to do a lot of logic about which if we want to do logic about what moves are legal or whatever, color probably isn't relevant. Well, it is relevant in terms of like you can move on top of your opponent's pieces, but not your own. So it does become relevant. But anyway, there are portions of our code that we can prove work for both white and black if we don't even provide those portions of the code access to that knowledge of whether it's white or black. Because either they're right for both or they're wrong for both because they don't know any better, right? Of course, part of the problem is the devil's in the details, and a lot of the algorithm is going to be, any algorithm you make, it's going to depend on the color. So it's like provably incorrect if the color's not there. So, because anyway, like I said, you can't capture your own pieces, at least not in most variants. Right, so now we've got this, we want to start relying on it. We'll get rid of this part, and then get rid of everything that errors. Okay, we do want this part still, we want that part. We want to get rid of that part. Now, const piece color equals find piece at index. Oh, this doesn't work. Well, we're going to do it in 2 steps. Const blah const blah equals find piece at, oops. Wonder what that was. Find piece at index. Right. Piece. No. Game and index. There we go. We need a better name for blah, but what we also need to do is if blah is undefined, return undefined. Get rid of that. Okay. Let's call it something abstract like piece search. Here we go, something like that. Okay. Good, good. I like this. This is better. And then we can use the same thing. I don't remember where, to be quite honest with you. Oh, inside a move piece. That's it. So, now we want to take the new location. We need to pass the game in. Let's call it again piece search equals find piece at index game index, right? Good. And then spell that correctly. I struggled spelling the word piece this whole time. If piece search is undefined, then we're done at this point, I think. No, we're not done. If it's not undefined, we have more work to do. Oops. What we need to do is remove that piece. Okay. Equals, wait. Piece color equals piece search. Now I want to do game color dot, oh wow, it type checks, that's cool. Board positions, oh yeah, we gotta do captures and board positions. Board position equals, okay, we need to recreate this. I need to remember to do that for React. Da, da, da. Dot find index captured IDX equals find index piece. We should call it P. I don't want to overlap. P dot position is the same as the index we started with. Okay. Oh, we're having to find it anyway. Huh. We're having to repeat the find, actually, which I don't like. But that's how it is. Okay, something's wrong with the keyboard again. Maybe it's time to buy a new one. Collar equals, no. Dot board position dot remove. I'm positive there's a way to remove something at a specific location. Let's just do array slash mdn array. Yeah, let's just do this. We'll find it. Ooh, internet's slow right now. I noticed that with AI as well. I hope the stream's doing okay. Instance methods. At concat copy every fill. Find flat for each includes index join keys. There's, okay. Some sort. Huh. Oh, we might have to recreate the array. Dang. Yeah. Here it is. In JavaScript, what's the best way to remove an item from an array at index in? Don't need two of these. Splice, that's it. I knew there was something to do it with. Splice. I glossed over splice. I'm kind of curious now why I didn't see that. Instance properties. Here it is. I read this, I just didn't read that. Add or remove elements. Okay, well, there was no way I was going to get it. Okay. It's a really simple syntax. Okay, remove, well, whatever. Index to remove, just remove one. Okay. Splice, captured index, just remove one. Okay. Now, game, ooh, I need the other collar. Const. Opponent collar. Let's rename here. My collar equals opponent color equals, whoops, white. Black, white. it seems just like a Boolean. So I'm wondering if there was some other way to represent this that works better. But it's just a small ugliness. That's fine. Game myCollar dot captures captures. Okay, so we look for capture of this kind of piece. Find index. No, we can just do .find because it's an object. C to c.piece equals piece.piece. Okay. Capture state. There's a better name for that, but anyway. This can return undefined, right? Okay. If capture state is undefined, add a new one, else capture state dot count plus equals 1. If it's undefined, we're going to have game myCollar captures dot push piece, all the nerdy stuff here. Whoops, hello. Count just 1. Okay, and at the end, we're going to have to take our game and recreate it. You be sure and do that. Okay, so set game. We need to make sure to have a new object, so that's how we're going to do it. Otherwise, React won't notice. Okay. Great. I think we can do it like this. Yeah, okay. We'll use all these things like this. No, I mean, that makes it more confusing, doesn't it? It really does. Okay, that's less confusing that way. Okay, there was a piece. So then we're going to swap these two. Can I do that automatically? Nope. Put the short side up here. Okay. Although they're really both one line. It's just one of them's longer than the other. Okay. So we've handled the capture. I feel like there's something else we're missing. Piece.position, we've got that set up right away. We could do that last if it's helpful in some way. Okay. I don't like how we're doing a piece search and then we're finding that piece again. I can't think of any way to make this to be able to do it all in one generic function, unless that function is like a generic traversal function that instead of returning the value, it just you pass in a function to do some operation, like delete from the array, like splicing, and it would just do, give it the index and the item, and let it do what it wants. Now, which we're not doing right now, we're not going to fix that issue. We're just going to move forward. Now, we move the piece, so we take the piece we're moving, the selected piece, we move it to that position. We search that position to see if there's an existing piece. If there is, then we remove it from the board. Okay. Captured index no longer has any value. And then we add it to captures. Wait. Yeah, this is the right piece. Right? Okay, I need to rename this. Captured piece. Part of why it's confusing. Okay, we're going to still call this piece search, but no, we're not. Captured piece search. Or just call it search for captures. Search for capture. Here we go. Right. So if we find a piece there already, then we remove it from the board position, and then we add it to my capture pieces. Okay. And then, so we set the index of my piece. We handle the capture, if there is a capture, and then we update the game. The only other thing I can think of to do is sort of in the wheelhouse of this, which is once we've moved the piece, we now need to update the dirty squares, or set dirty squares. Right. Clicked index and existing dirty squares. And then we also want to set piece selected. Whoa, hello. Set piece selected. Is any selected false? Okay. Deselect the piece and update the square it's moving to make sure it's going to be repainted. Although, thinking about it, let's say you grab a piece and you move it. Every square that you move over is going to become dirty. So for now, I think I'm not going to have it. I was thinking about having it drag underneath the mouse cursor, but I realized we have to update the entire board or figure out where to do damage. So I think I'm just going to leave it and just have it instantly move from place to place, and we'll handle animations later. Okay, maybe we'll just always repaint the whole board, honestly. Okay. If that isn't fast enough, we can always switch to Rust. I feel like this is done now. I feel like this does the thing. But does it? Okay, let's find out where the errors are. Okay, we have lots of errors. Extension context invalidated. This is not my code. I don't care about it. Let's reload everything. Okay, error round tripping. That's not a surprise at all, is it? And you know, it doesn't actually give me any information. So, let's just go to that location. Well, of course it's there. Okay, well this assert function ended up being bad. So let's look for asserts everywhere. Let's get rid of this and just call it directly. Thought it was a convenience function, but it's actually becoming inconvenient, so. Okay. Now then. Perfect. Okay, now let's go back to the console. Let's look. It's going to be all four of them probably. If it's the same one. The same one. Okay, great. We want to clear the console and start over. I just realized we don't have this value unless we type it in the console. Let me redo my asserts to make them a little more useful. Yeah, it was a bit, yeah, just a bit wrong. Okay, so we're going to call it what? Extract function, extract the inner function, extract a constant. There we go. We're going to call it assert round trip index. There we go. Let's go do that again. Excuse me. Round trip index. It's just easier to redo it than just to try to copy paste. Round trip index, and I think there's one more place to do it. No, there are only 3 places. Great. Okay. Now at this point we at least have the round trip index before we, let's reload. We at least have the index. Index is 0, and the original index is 0. So here the assert's not failing. Okay, at this location we want this to be conditional. It helps if I can select things and right click, copy, add a breakpoint. We only want to stop when the assert is going to fail. Which honestly I wish I could just tell it to stop on asserts that fail. Okay, so the position is 32, the round trip index is 31.999. Oh, dang. Okay, well, unfortunately, this is not a logic error. I really wish it were. It'd be so much easier to fix if it were my fault. This is just mishandling floating point. You know what? I probably should just round it. Let's look at the 2 functions that we're messing with. This is the last thing we call, but we divide here. I don't know if we need to round the inputs or not. I think I'm just going to round the output. There we go. Math.round. Oh, obviously it's not here. The problem is obviously not here. Yeah, it's obviously here. Okay, so let's do it here. Math.round. Math.round, because there's no division going on there. Hopefully that fixes the error. Okay, we're stopped here, but this breakpoint is unconditional. And it's also in the wrong spot. Well, let's keep going. Index is 0, round trip index is 0. So let's change this. Copy. Add a breakpoint. Oh, whoops. Let's add it again. We only want to stop when they're not equal, when the assert's going to fail. Okay, reload the page again. No failures. Great. Okay, we found a bug thanks to our asserts. Oh, wrong code. Right here. Okay, we want to look for any assert changes. We want to include those. Yes, yes. No. Yes. No. No. Ooh. Yes, this all happens to be assert related, thankfully. Split. No. 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 Actually, to be honest with you, I could probably amend the previous commit with this part, which is just formatting changes of the asserts. basically. It's just a little refactor of the assert. So then we have our bug fix. I do want to separate that out. That's pretty important. Split, yes, no. Bug, get index from render position, round XY coordinates to integers. Thanks to floating point, we can miss equality checks. To rounding errors. Very small rounding errors. Nip that in the bud. Our rounding after dividing. We aren't worried about compounding rounding errors here because we're working with discrete values. That is, all valid coordinates are integers. There we go. Okay, now the rest of it should be working fine. I am expecting errors. Don't know what they are yet, but I'm expecting them. Let's click on this piece. Click here. Okay, nothing happened. I want to refresh context. handlePieceMovement. Okay, so here what I want to do. I want to step through this actually. Get rid of those two. Don't need them anymore. Although I probably should keep them, to be honest. Seems like they'll be generally useful. Move piece, handlePieceMovement. Let's just look here. Click. And step. So far so good. Now, offset from canvas. Oh, it's undefined. Really? Okay, well that throws a wrench in everything then. Why is it not defined? Because I thought it was. I thought I looked at the spec and it's defined. Asserts, we don't care right now. This can all go away. This looks about right. Mouse event. Huh. I don't think I need that. Mouse event to offset X. All right, let's look at the click event. Event. Event type is a pointer event inherits a mouse event. Right. Okay. So here's our mouse event we're inheriting from. Offset X, offset Y, read only. Huh. Okay, well, I think what I need to do then is use the client X and Y to calculate this. It looks like it's been supported forever. For a long time. I don't know why it's not working here. It might have some, I'm suspecting that React is somehow interfering with it and not passing all the events we might need. I think this means we're also going to need a ref, but I think we already have one, don't we? For the canvas. Let's close these two up for now. Look at the canvas. We already have a ref. Okay. So we need to calculate the offset. Canvas position equals, let's start with that. I just want to have AI do a little bit of this for me. I don't want to think too hard about it. Maybe I could have AI do it directly. Calculate the position of canvas ref elements top left corner. Okay, so keep this. If canvas rect, get bounding client rect or 0, 0. I don't want it to ever be 0, 0. If console.assert, wait, canvas rect not equals undefined. Cannot handle piece movement, yet bounding client rect unavailable. Actually, let's do this. If canvas ref dot current equals undefined, return. Okay, now at this point, I think we can do this. That should work. Oh, okay. Or canvas ref dot current is null. Great. Now this is not null at this point. We don't need the assert at this point. We don't need that. Great. Okay. Left and top. Cool. Cool. Now then, client X minus canvas position 0 to be honest with you, it's probably canvas rect dot left. It's probably a little bit more intuitive. Event dot client Y minus canvas rect dot top. Y is the vertical, X is the horizontal. Yeah, that makes sense. We don't need that anymore. Okay. And at this point, we don't need the as because it's already doing it. Comma. Okay. Okay, now. Why is this failing? Type number is not assignable. Number. I don't know why that was failing before, but here we go. Comma. So this will get us a little bit further along. Let's disable breakpoints and reload. Click, click. Don't see any issues. Okay, that's the frustrating part, is not seeing any errors. Like there's almost no indication that it's working. Okay, so canvas rect, boom. Let's take a look at that rect. Left is 32, top is 44. That's pretty compelling. Although it seems, oh, no, it's not. It seems like this ought to be closer. It should be a lot bigger. Look at that, top 44, left 32. Eesh. Okay, well, whatever. Moving on. Offset from canvas is 72,173. Fine. There shouldn't be a piece selected. Okay, good. Okay. Now, let's get to here. Undefined. Okay, that's our problem right there. So we're not finding the piece. The only thing I really know to do at this point is to draw the place that I touched. That's the only thing I know to do. That's a great way to debug things. Okay, so at this point, what I want to do is paint square context. Okay, so we're going to grab the context the same way, except we don't need the question mark because we know we have a context for sure. Wait, can this still return undefined? It can. I can return null, unfortunately. If context not equal null, context dot draw. Ooh. Well, I mean, okay. I've done things. I guess I could draw a square. Let's do that. Let's paint a square. Fill rect. Okay. Fill rect. Offset from canvas 0, offset from canvas 1. Width is going to be 2 and 2. So the top left corner of it, like this is not going to be precisely in the right spot, but the top left corner should be. So we should see something when we click. Okay, we don't see anything. Oh, I need context.style. Context.fillStyle equals blue. Reload. Okay, but maybe it's getting painted underneath of something else. I'm not seeing it. Do I need to make it bigger? Let's make it bigger. There we go. Okay, now we can start doing things. You can see how far off we are. Well, that's not good. I can see 2 potential errors, but okay. Look at this. I'm clicking all the way down here. Look how close it is. Okay, I think I know what the issue is. Our canvas is scaled, so the screen coordinates don't really map nicely into canvas coordinates. I feel like this is a pretty good sign that we've got the wrong solution, that we're having to do all this mapping stuff. Like I thought canvas would be great and efficient, and I guess it is, but it gives lots of power. But look at what we have to do. We have to map between screen coordinates and canvas coordinates. And of course, look at that. Screen coordinates can change, and now it's really close to being accurate. If you get all the way to this corner, it's completely accurate. You can see, of course, the top corner, right? The top corner is where, yeah. The top corner is the point we're selecting, and then everything else is out from that. So, yeah, that's pretty frustrating. It's totally possible to map it. Here's what I want to know though. Let's say we click for somewhere precise, like right in this edge. Oh, I can't even see the new one. Okay. Let's click very precisely right here in a square. Now, ooh, okay. Here's the good news. It looks like it's equidistant from the bottom and the right-hand side here. What that means is most likely this issue is not related to the top, and because I thought like, hey, oh, okay. When I was looking at it on the small screen, I thought the top padding was so much bigger than left padding, but it's probably because I wasn't scrolled over all the way or whatever. I thought there was a problem with the padding, but that's not it. This is clearly due to the screen coordinates not lining up with the canvas coordinates. So we need to do some math then on the result we get in order to convert it. I feel a function coming on. Function get canvas coordinate. Props. Okay, we're going to return X and Y. Okay. Now, what do we need for this? We need just pass in the whole event. React.mouse event. Canvas element, sure, mouse event. Just pass the whole thing in. And then we need we're also going to need a canvas ref. Canvas ref. What's the type of that? React dot, ref object. HTML canvas element. And I'm going to say it can't be null. Let's see what happens. I think we can deal with that. And then what else do we need to know? We need to know, yeah, okay, I think everything else we can calculate. So this we can grab, boom. No, it's not possibly null. We just said that. Huh. I guess null's always included? That's frustrating. Ref object, ref object. Whatever. If canvas ref dot current is null, return undefined. That's unfortunate, but it's got to be done. Okay. Now then, get rid of the question mark. Fine. Client offset. Okay. There's a better name for this. Click offset within canvas. Great. That's not really what I wanted. Client, click, offset. Slightly better. I want to emphasize the difference between, okay, why does this event have issues? Event is deprecated? Are you kidding me? What in the world? I'm not having that problem here. Oh, I get it. Const event canvas ref equals props. This is the problem. Something's going on here. Something's fishy. Oh, need a colon here. That helps. Great. Okay, I don't know what was going on before, but now we got it. Okay. Fine, we have that. We do need our context as well, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll use this for debugging. And we're going to make it 10 instead of 50. And we're also going to do -5. And we'll do -5. There we go. Okay, so we need to calculate the offset from canvas. So const offset from canvas equals, start out with 0. What we need to know at this point is the width and height of the element in the HTML, and then the width and height inside the canvas we already know because it's set. Well, actually we get the width attribute, right? Const canvas internal size equals canvas ref, nope, we're referring to this so much, L equals ref dot current. L. Okay. L dot width, L dot height. This is the internal size. Const canvas size on page. Okay. Now is this the attribute or the width? Oh, it's a property. Uh-huh. Huh. Okay, let's use AI for this. Fix this to pull the attributes named width and height. We want to, there we go, fine. We want to distinguish between width and height. L dot width, L dot, here. Let's just do this. Use props instead of, I think it's just going to be L dot width and height. I just want to confirm that. Okay. Gives me a bit of a sanity check. Okay, so Offset from canvas is client click offset times canvas internal size divided by canvas size on page. Actually, let's do the, yeah. Const scaling factor equals canvas internal size 0 time divided by canvas size on page 0. I don't actually even know if I'm doing these calculations in the correct order. But I know that if I just try it and if it works, then we're done. And if it doesn't work, then we just swap it to the other way. Okay, times scaling factor 0, client click offset times scaling factor 1. I could try to intuitively figure it out, but I need to parse it. Okay. Or 0. Let's ask AI some things. Okay. When the width and height attributes of a canvas unset, what's the default? I bet it's the width and height prop. I'll just search. I don't care. I don't need to confirm those. Okay. Okay. Where did you find this information? That's really dubious. Let's take a look. Okay. Defaults to 300, defaults to 150. Width defaults to 300, 150. It's really dubious, but okay. Okay, now we need to parse that. Suppose we can do it that way. Parse int. Let's look at the definition of this function. If the argument is not supplied, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't really know what happens if the parse int fails. Client click offset is what? Oh! Perfect. Okay, yeah. Scaling factor could be backward, but hey. Okay, now. Right, so we do all that. And then we have our offset from canvas, which is what we return. Return offset from canvas. Why in the world is that failing? I bet I know. Yep. Now let's make use of this get canvas coordinate. Look how hard that was. Okay, so const offset from canvas equals get canvas coordinate. We're passing in event. We're passing in canvas ref. Okay. Can't have two of them. We don't want two of them. We don't need that. Why is this not working? Okay, weirdly, even though I said it can't be null, it's still nullable inside this function. So I'm going to get rid of that. It still made me check for null inside there, even though I didn't want to. I wanted to have a caller check for null and only do it in one place, but okay, we'll just ignore that part. Oh, interesting. Oh no, we still need that. Okay, do we need context? We're not doing this part anymore. I was getting prematurely excited. This could be null. Okay, so if offset from canvas is undefined, return. This is the same as if, this is basically the same case as if the canvas offset is null, except we need the event. Yeah, okay, this is fine. This is fine. Everything should work now. Okay, now we're doing the conversion. Geez. Let's try clicking here in that little corner. Okay, so it's still off. Okay, it looks like it's more and more off the further we go, yeah. Okay, so let's just take our scaling factor and flip it before we freak out. Ooh, boy. Okay, try again. Okay, it's still wrong. Seems like it's wrong by the same amount, though. I probably need to... When did I account for the whatchamacallit? Oh yeah, I never accounted for the offset, did I? Did I? Click offset. No, I'm doing it here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need to subtract before we multiply. So that's right. Oh, I'm doing this backwards, aren't I? Maybe not. Okay. Mouse event has client X and Y, page X and Y, screen X and Y. Okay, well, let's look at what's available then. Where's mouse event? Is it here? It's here. Page X. Okay, what's the difference between that and client? I think client means the viewport. Okay, so let's try instead page X. I don't care to learn what screen X means. See if that fixes it. Oh, hello. Well, it made a big difference. All right. Okay, let's try again. The further out well, let's see. If I click, okay, hang on, let's start over. Click in the top corner here. Oh. It's right underneath of it. Wait, but if I do this, then it's wrong by more. Okay, so that's not right. Let's try screen. Oh, I just noticed I was doing the wrong one. Okay, let's try this again. This is working. Screen X and Y. I really hope this is all I need. Oh, wait. No, it's not. It's only working in that corner. Okay, the scaling factor is off. It seems like it's off more in one direction than the other, though. Let's be sure. Let's click in the top corner here. This should be symmetrical. Oh, it is. Okay. seemed like it wasn't. Okay, so man, this is just really fiddly, right? We could spend time trying to calculate all this, like what's best, but we'd have to spend time understanding every one of those numbers individually and what it meant. Okay, this is the closest I've been. Let's try this though. You can see we're, okay, in this square at least, we're really close no matter where it is on screen. So I think screen coordinates are probably the best. I think the bounding rec is the problem. When I do get bounding rec, it's relative to the screen. It says relative to the viewport. So the client X and Y should work. That should totally work. It does work. Here. Not here though. So I'm doing the math wrong somehow. I've got to figure it out. Let's see. Well, let's start by inspecting. Let's just think this through in our minds. Okay, the width and height are 2048. And you can see the actual size is 1820. That means when we convert from screen coordinates to canvas coordinates, the number should get bigger. And it also means that the bigger number, at least in this scenario, is the canvas coordinates, the internal ones, right? So if we take the internal coordinates and we divide by the size on page, that's going to be a smaller number. Canvas scaling, size on page. Wait. Okay. Size. There we go. Now, we want this number to be greater than 0, or we want it to be greater than 1, excuse me, when the canvas internal coordinates are larger than the screen coordinates. And that's what we're getting here. And then we want to multiply, like, hey, if we're at coordinate 64, 0, we want to multiply it by the difference. Now this should work, and it doesn't, as far as I know. I believe I've tested this scenario. It works here fine. Looks so perfect, but then you get further away and it's just further off. Well, let's see. If the padding were wrong, then it would be wrong everywhere. It would be wrong here. Right? That's really tricky. And it's not even something where you can examine it to try to figure it out. I guess I could try to calculate it. Well, this should be cell size. Should be very close to cell size when we're clicking at this location. So let's do this. Console.log. Let's just put out an object. Let's put everything in there, to be quite honest with you. Client click offset. Okay. Canvas internal size. Canvas size on page. Let's make sure these numbers match up with what I expect. Scaling factor. And offset from canvas. Now, offset from canvas is the most important number here. It's right. And then we have scaling factor, which is pretty easy to understand. Then we have those and that. There we go. Okay. Let's put this always on top. This should be an easy one. Let's just start over. Got a bunch of nonsense on the page. Okay. Offset from canvas, 2.51 seems reasonable. Scaling factor 1.1. Okay, so client click offset. That's actually not as big as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be, that's weird. Okay, so there's more I need to put here then. Okay, so client position. Can't actually, let's do this. Canvas rect. Just do it this way. Canvas rect left. Canvas rect top. And let's figure out the click absolute position, which is event.clientX and event.clientY. Okay. That click didn't register. That one did. Okay. It's really bizarre that I can click up in the top corner of an area that's actually rendered and it doesn't register. It might be just I'm misclicking. Okay, now the absolute position is here. The client position is here. Okay. So, right. Okay. So you would imagine the difference between the client position and the click position is going to be really small because I'm clicking near the top corner where we're measuring from. So this client click offset being small makes sense. You can see I was clicking right on the vertical edge, but slightly down from the top. Let me see if I can get it closer. Okay, that might have been closer, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, okay, so about the same. Looks like I can't click along the top edge for some reason. Might be just my hand position, my motor skills or whatever. Not being quite good enough, but we're not going to freak out about that. Now, let's go back to the original. Let's assume that's the only one for now. The internal size is what we expect. The size on page is the same, which we don't expect. Okay, the properties, okay. So that's our problem. That's our problem right there, is the size on page is not getting measured unless it's changed. Inspect. Canvas size is 1820 squared. Let's see if we can get this information. 0.width. 0.prop. Dot what? Okay, so let's try. Okay. In the browser, I have a an HTML element object. How can I grab the actual rendered width and height of the element? I don't mean the width and height properties. Let's see what it says. Oh, that returns size and position. Oh, okay. Well, let's check that. Yes, that works. Okay. Size on page is canvas rect dot width height. Okay, that's sorted through our issues. Hopefully. Let's try again. Looks pretty accurate to me. Great. Woo! Alright, I really don't want to print out all this debugging information. What I'd like to do is print it out only when it's different than I expect, but I don't even know how to express the concept of what I expect to the system. So we're just going to leave that off, because I definitely do want a console for other things. Now movement isn't working for some reason. And am I getting messages? So let's go back to our handle. Oh, okay. Our breakpoint dropped off because things weren't working. Okay. Click. Offset from canvas is not null. Ooh, I don't like that, but we're going to go with it. Piece selected dot nothing. Okay, fine. Point is inside. I bet the error must be inside there. Well, let's first go to here and see if there is an error. Yes. Okay, so that really shouldn't have an issue, though. Let's look here. Yeah, it shouldn't care about that. Okay. Okay, well we know what we want. We want the knight with index 8. So let's set a breakpoint here. X of piece hitboxes. Let's just do this again. Click the knight. Breakpoint here. Go to it. Piece hitboxes. Oh, there aren't any. Oh, well that's a big miss. Okay. I think I need to define my reactive function differently. I was thinking that that if you create a function inside of React like this, it would always be redefined every single time it ran, but maybe it's never being redefined, so it's going with the first value. But I don't actually know that. What's it called? Set piece hitboxes. First of all, what I want to do is make sure, before doing anything else, I want to make sure that's actually being called. Okay, there it is. Is that ever getting called? Yes, with hitboxes. It's getting called several times, which is interesting. Let's hit the rook this time. So okay, we're looking at hitboxes down here. Whoops. Piece hitboxes is length 0. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, well, let's figure out how to define functions in the React way. I know there's some special jazz you're supposed to do. Maybe it's a matter of passing it in. Maybe. Or did I misspell it? Okay. Hitbox list. Okay. Okay. Take the event, pass it through. Will that fix the issue? Okay, I don't need that one anymore. We're just going to assume that works for now. Click. It's still empty. Oh, wait. That's also empty. I don't get that. Whew. That's really frustrating. We are calling set piece hitboxes right there. It's spelled correctly. Here we are using the correct state object. Why is it getting passed in as empty? Is there an early return that happens somewhere in here that messes things up? Honestly, this function is really simple, right? It doesn't have any returns except this one. Huh. This is really confusing to me. The only thing I can think to do is to just log out hitboxes. Okay. Okay, you can see it's 0, 0, then 32, 32, 0, 0. So it seems like we're actually at some point removing all of the hitboxes. I think I might know why. I've got an idea, but you can see we have 32 and then we have none again. I've got an idea. Yes, we have a filter here. What's V? Oh, if paint piece at returns nothing, we filter it out. Let's print out the game as well, I guess. Okay, let's look here. Our game has 16 pieces for each. Looks pretty normal. Yeah, that all looks great. So what happened to our hitboxes? Huh. Some kind of weird logic interaction, I'm sure. Uh-huh. What are the circumstances under which it returns early? Oh, we were logging this before. That's why it's there. Let's put that inside the logging. There we go. Uh-huh. This always returns. It doesn't ever return anything except a real value. This one, however, returns undefined in a couple scenarios. Okay. If a piece is selected, it's going to lose a hitbox as a result of not being painted by this function. I feel like we're making this function do too much. I think it's fine for it to lose its hitbox while it's selected. That's totally fine. In fact, that might even be a little bit intuitive from the perspective of you shouldn't be hitting it. You shouldn't be able to click on it while it's already clicked. So that's fine. If the search can't be found in the game, I think I need to know when it's returning undefined. Whew. Okay. Huh. Huh. Well, for search failed for index. We don't care about piece selection, actually. That should be good enough. Okay, let's try that on for size. Let's start from scratch so we can scroll easily. Okay, so here we have 0. Interestingly, we have 0 in our piece hitboxes the first time through because the use effect hasn't been called. We get it again. I think this is because it gets added more than once, and then we go through this. Search fails for most of the squares. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't fail for 6 and 7. Then it fails for 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's all making sense. And then we paste these, but we're not doing the painting anymore. Okay. So it seems like this is getting reset for whatever reason. Okay, I have another theory. So it seems like this is getting reset without actually repainting anything. So here's my new theory, is that this use effect isn't getting called often enough. We need game first. Let's do everything in order. Dirty squares, then canvas ref, needs full repaint, then piece hitboxes is not even here. We shouldn't have it here actually because it's going to be an infinite loop if it's here. Can't find the name. Piece hitboxes. Oh my goodness, I misspelled that. Okay. Wow. Okay, didn't screw up as much as I expected. I'm not using it that often. Okay. However, this is getting set inside this loop. So it's just going to make the use effect be infinite if we do that. This should all be right. right? The reason I'm using state at all, maybe I don't want state. Let me try it one more time, and then I'm going to try did it fail somehow? I think the devs tools crashed or something. Yeah, it crashed. Reload. Okay, DevTools is gone now. Clear it and then reload. 0, 0, search failed, 32, 32, 0, 0. Since this is happening, what I want to do is save a work in progress commit. Work in progress, because I want to be able to revert what I'm about to do. Okay, so piece selected. Piece hitboxes. Let piece hitboxes hitbox array equals empty. Okay. Set piece hitboxes. Oh. Equals let's do that and then get rid of this and see if that makes a difference. Whew. That's the same. I don't think it's a global. It isn't. Click. This is inside of get canvas core. Okay, I see our reference, our whatchamacallit's all moved. Let's just set a breakpoint, basic breakpoint anywhere in there, and then start from there. Click. I don't know why those got cleared. I don't have any concept of why or how. This has got to be something really basic I'm overlooking. I'm only calling this in one place. And the other one was, if you look, search failed, right? It never selects a piece. Let's not log that anymore, or that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like every one of these represents it getting added to the page twice in 3 different states, beginning, middle, and end. Okay. Let's just copy this. Oh, come on, let me copy. Here we go. I almost copied everything. Let's ask AI. Good. 6 different times. First to empty, then to then it's getting filled by the use effect to have 32 elements, which is expected. Then, however, it's getting cleared again, back down to 0 elements. What's going on? I know this is a really bad question. But we're going to go with it. Here's my console log from line 25. I think it's line 25. Yes. I believe the duplicates are from the component getting added multiple times by React or dev mode. But what I want to know is why it's emptied at the end. I guess while it's asking, while it's trying to answer that question, I'm going to try to answer it myself. Set pieces selected. No. I didn't ask it to make changes. Stop. Undo all. Ask. That's really frustrating. I did not ask it to make changes. I wish it had just noticed that. Okay. Instead of needing to be explicitly converted to the right mode. Why is it making changes? Stop. 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 Undo all. Why is it in agent mode again? I just changed it to ask mode. I guess I have to open a new tab first. There we go. Okay. Now while it's trying to give an answer, I'm going to try this. I'm going to add some messages here. I don't think I need to log the game here. Yeah, okay. Console.log new hitboxes. Yes, I should. However, I did it this way to rule out use state as the source of the error. Please proceed to answer my question with that in mind. I hate when it gives really useless answers like, you should do this. It's like, well, yes, I should, but that is not the answer to my question. Okay, it looks like it is losing stuff. It is, okay. Why would new hitboxes ever be 0? Okay, module level variables get reset when the module is reevaluated. It behaves the same way with, actually, let me just, instead of telling it, let me comment it out. Let me uncomment it. Okay, read it this one. Okay, I'm still having the same issue. It's really, really simplistic and not unable to. Well, what's the problem? Okay, stop talking about that. Is in the dependency array. It is. And when you update pieceSelected, it triggers the use effect to run again. But when pieceSelected changes, the paint piece app function has this logic. I hate how it's got this solution. Yes, this is correct behavior. When one piece is selected, its hitbox gets removed. That would change the array count, the hitbox array count, from 32 to 31. It does not explain it getting reset back to 0. Okay, problem is in this logic, right? Okay, great. When needs full repaint is faucet, only processes dirty squares. Okay, I think maybe what it is I don't need to set hitboxes when... Here's the problem, right? Hitboxes... I think... Let's do this. Let's do this to try to fix it. If needs full repaint, this is not going to be a total solution. This is kind of one of my first guesses at what it might have been. Yep, that was it. That was the issue. Why didn't I just try that before? Okay, now we're selecting it. Oh wow, this has really moved. Targeted piece. Right here. Piece, pawn, position 9. Great! Alright, we're able to hit things now. Now then, we removed it, and then we're going to do boom. Okay, we're going to do one step at a time. There is a piece selected. We're getting inside here. Let's just set a breakpoint here and not there. Okay, and then not there. Clicked index is 11. Okay. Move piece. Set dirty square. Set piece selected. Continue. Okay, well, we got rid of the click, but the piece is also gone. Okay, well, there's more work to be done here. Targeted piece is undefined. Okay. But if I click here, I bet that piece will still be selected. Yep. The position is 11, but the hitbox has stayed static. Okay, so when we successfully move a piece, we need to update its hitbox. And we need to start drawing it again. I don't know why it's not drawing again. Okay, so that's more work to be done in the future. And to be quite honest with you, I am done for now. That's been a lot to get done and get through. But at least this is sort of kind of working now. Okay. Get checkout. We discard that. Don't discard the fix. Discard that. Okay, we don't need all that debugging stuff. Let's go back though where we're fixing it. Oh yeah. There's so much code in here. Okay. That's a sign we need to break things out somehow. To do handle moving hitboxes for partial repaints. 2. This requires us to search for, find and update the existing hitbox, find and replace. Rather than replacing all of them. Yeah. Okay. There may be one, or there probably is not going to be more than one hitbox, but it's a list. Like well, no, there might be 2. Actually, you know what? Here's the tricky thing. We probably always need to repaint all the squares. Yeah, we do. Let's call this all squares. Let's just go ahead and fix it. Let me make sure I can spell. Okay. This should fix it. We always repaint all the pieces. Right. Okay. Don't think we need that anymore. Right, we need to paint the selected piece. What I don't understand, though... Okay, I don't want any more of these guys. What I don't understand is why when we place the piece, it doesn't come back. Well, let's... I've got an idea of where to look. I thought I was done, but I should be done. Remove all breakpoints. Handle piece movement. Here we go. I don't remember it being this short. Am I looking at the right place? Oh, it's not that short. Okay. Let's go here. Click this piece. What? Oh, yeah. We don't have a targeted piece yet. We have one here. Targeted piece. The pawn at position 9. Okay. Now what I want to see is if I remove it and click again. Oh, I need to actually check here. Let's start again. Click it. Again, pawn at position 9. Continue. Let's move it to 2 this time. Clicked index is 2. Great, that's working fine. I actually want a breakpoint in the use effect. Right here where we're getting ready to repaint. I want to find out what's wrong with it. I don't know why we're going to the second line, but okay. But I'll check here anyway. Don't care about what's new. Game. Let's look at black specifically. Black still has 16 pieces. Okay. Where am I again? I don't think this will change anything right away. Black has 15 pieces now. Why? Okay, so move piece is just wrong. Okay, cool. Mystery solved. Okay. We need to go through this function. We might want it there, but probably not. We already were able to get the result we needed just from this. Move piece right here. 9. We don't need that anymore. It seems to be working. 10. We don't need that one right now. Piece, the pawn at position 9. We want to move it to position 10. We move the piece. Search for captured piece. Find piece at index. Well, this is, of course, at that index. Oh, we need to update the position last. Okay, yeah. Well, it's by reference. Okay. So let's do this later. Okay. That is very fair. Okay, so reload. Move it here. Okay. Boom. Search for capture is undefined. There's no piece there. But we're going to put a piece there. Boom. I feel like at this point, game should be already updated. It looks right. Continue. It's there. Okay, great. Now let's get rid of this. Okay. There was a weird issue there where this didn't match that. Yeah, that's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we just lost a pawn. Looks like we can at least move the black pieces though. Let's okay, let's move a white piece now. Works fine. Sort of. I think you have to click on the top half for it to work properly. If I click on the bottom half, yeah. Okay, so you gotta click on the top half of the square. That is progress, honestly. Okay, great. Boom. Okay, we can capture something. Great. Now if I stop at any breakpoint, I should be able to look at captures. There we go. Game should show captures for somebody. Black has captured one piece, which is we don't need board position. Actually, captures. Captured a knight. Okay, I didn't pay attention to what it was. And now white's captured. Okay, great. So it seems like that's working okay now. Now then, I'm going to leave this as is. I don't see anything here I want to get rid of. Let's get rid of the work in progress commit. Okay. Track piece, handle piece movements. This is the basics done. Oh my goodness, that took forever. This is the basics done. It took us a last session in this one. Man, that's quite a while. I want to add up the hours I spent on this. But anyway, we got that much working at least. And it isn't perfect. I wonder, if I select the bottom half, will it move the queen? No. Anyway, now we lost the piece. Interesting. So what happens if I want to move a piece back to the same square? It captures itself. Okay. I think that's easy to fix. But honestly, there's a little more finesse I need here. To do. Yeah, my color is not the opposite of my opponent's color. Well, no, I don't care actually. Do I? Yeah, I don't actually care about that. We're not going to fix that. What we are going to do is fix the index thing. What I want to do is break if captured index is piece, oh yeah, is piece.index position break. Break out of what, you say? Right. I want to break out of the surrounding if statement. Okay, well, I guess we're having a nested if statement here. Doubly nested if statement, okay. Don't recapture yourself. I guess it's not really a bug. This is a weird game, right? Like, if I use the white piece to capture a white piece, like if I use a white pawn to capture a white bishop, that's not really a bug if it goes into black's captures. It's just a definition, right? Black bishop captured that. It goes into white's captures. That's not a bug. That is just how it works. Because this is not the game of chess we're talking about. There's not a rule that we need to follow about how captures work when we're specifically and intentionally not following the rules. So you can see here white has a capture even though I use black to capture its own piece. I can use the rook to capture a pawn. And you can see here, oops, if you look at the game, white has a capture. Oh, it only has one capture. Queen. We capture the queen. We finish this. The rook is there. Let's do another move. I think it just did an update. And if we look, white should have two captures at this point. Oh, yeah, two captures. Yeah, queen and pawn. Okay, so basically, if black removes his own pieces, they go into white's list of captures, which is fine. The list of captures there is just a convenience. It has nothing to do with. In fact, I've seen actual chess. In fact, if I go to chess.com, if I set up a game, I'm willing to bet, like if I set up a game with fewer pieces, it'll list captures for any piece that's off the board. Let's try that real quick. Is it worth proving my point if I can't figure out what I'm doing? Okay, why would I want notifications on the computer? That's dumb. Custom challenge. This is hard to see in the size. Okay, there we go. I want an unrated challenge. I want a custom board. Ooh, lots of stuff here. Standard. What if I unrated board? Okay, well that doesn't. Huh. Okay, I can't remember how to do it. I thought there was a way to play locally or to set up a challenge, custom challenge. Huh. But if I choose unrated, maybe it's against bots. That might be it. If you play against a bot, I don't really care which one of these we use. But this is more complicated than what I'm used to seeing. Let's try one of these guys. It doesn't matter which one. That guy. Custom challenge. Here we go. Type. Oh. Okay, anyway, whatever. I don't need to prove my point. It's fine. What I'm trying to say is, like, when you start a board with fewer than the right number of pieces, they treat it as if those pieces were captured prior to the start of the game, like prior to the board position. even if it doesn't necessarily make sense, even if it's not physically possible in the rules of the game. So I think that's fine. We need to make our commit though. Get this committed and out of here. Yes. Bug in the, it's not the board canvas function. Move piece. I guess technically it is. Move piece. Don't capture self if piece moves back to same square. So we found another bug we're going to put in our to-dos. Bugs. Where are bugs? Here we go. Placing a selected piece on the board below the 50% mark horizontal of the square causes it to go one square lower than expected. Fix rounding question mark? Okay, we're working on that. On canvas, handle click events. Yes. We did that. It was hard. Now, we're really not doing that exactly. Sort of. I mean, I haven't noticed any bugs with that, so we're just going to call that part done. So I think we're done with this. Oh, this was for last time, and I didn't get any of that. Didn't get into any of that. Handle drag and drop events. I think this is supposed to be the later stuff. I don't know why I called it today. Must have been really confusing to hear me. Okay, so I don't know what we're doing next. I need to figure out what's missing. Honestly, like, there's a lot of other stuff I want to get. Oh, I know what I'm going to do next. Okay, so next time, replace hitbox inner type with rect. There we go. Because rect is much easier to understand. And then question mark. We're going to figure out next time. Because I am just toast. This has been a long day. All right, well, thank you all for joining me. I really hope this has been fun. I'm having fun now. My chessboard actually works. I think I need to change it to where it'll render the piece highlighted or something. Oh, wow, there's... Okay, so interestingly, if you click on the top left quadrant, it goes in the right square. But if you click, watch, I'm going to capture that pawn. Boom. Yep. So it seems like these squares are like off a little bit. There's like a little off by one error in the calculation. That's fine. We'll figure that out. All right, cool. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this. I hope you're as excited as I am about the progress. Like, it isn't exactly, like, it's slow going, right? But we're getting there. And you know, this is something you could play chess with this at this point, right? Like, it's possible. It's not ergonomic in the least. You wouldn't prefer this over any chessboard, whether digital or otherwise. But like, imagine that imagine you're stuck in a place where you don't have a physical chessboard, and you just need to try something real quick, and it's a weird position, and you don't want to have to spend time configuring chess.com or whatever. You could just quickly, capture pieces, to get them off the board. Maybe we want to have a situation where there are no pawns or few pawns, something like that. So yeah, you can totally just set up whatever position you want with this. You can even play with no king. Anyway, this has been Creative Craving. I hope you all have enjoyed the journey today, and I hope you'll come back for more. Good night. Have a good one.